Scholar IT Solutions is a balanced staffing company developed by a group of professionals with an experience of over 18+ years in staffing solutions. With years of quality and committed high-end application development and staffing experience, we have become experts at delivering the right fit, the first time. We will be glad to be your last stop and provide you with the perfect solution to your requirements. Follow Scholar IT Solutions LinkedIn page. For more updates, follow our social media pages.
You all know that this online webinar is organized by Scholar IT Solutions, which provides different IT solutions. And IT Scholar IT Solution is a group of professionals with technical and domain expertise. And we have an experienced and a robust team of efficient people serving multiple clients in US, and it is one of the best company in US. And so, as I said before, also please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn and Instagram. So today's agenda is about the Oracle Data Guard introduction. It is not more introduction, just a recap of the last seminar I did. Then I had a request from many of my attendees to have a protection mode explanation and to perform how to show them how to switch or how to change the protection mode from maximum performance to maximum availability. So I'm going to do a hands-on session on that, and I'm going to show you how to configure a broker, DGBroker, and we will also perform this protection mode change using the broker. I will show you how to deconfigure the broker, and we will do all these stuffs one by one in the practical sessions also.
This session will be recorded?
Yes, it's being recorded, yeah. Okay, I think let's start this session now. So let's have a Data Guard recap here. So Oracle Data Guard is a feature which was introduced in Oracle 10G. And in the Data Guard, we have a primary database, and we can have one or more standby databases. And they are always kept in sync with the primary database, and so that if there is any data loss, we can prevent that. With the Data Guard, we can have the high availability, we can have the data protection, we can have the disaster recovery for the enterprise services or the data. We can and the Data Guard maintains these standby databases as a consistent copy of the production database, and so that if you want to shut down, or if there is a plan, or if there is an unplanned outage, and you have to with the primary database, so you can have a switch over to the standby database, which will minimize the downtime of the outage. With Data Guard, we can reduce the load of the primary database, thus improving the performance on the primary database by running the backups and by running the reports on the standby database. Last time I have shown this diagram, and so we can see on the left side that there is a primary database, and the database transactions are coming to that database, and from there the transactions goes into the online video log files using the log vectors, and they're also going to the standby side to have a sync of it and to have a consistent copy on the standby. There the RFS will write them to the standby redo logs, and from there that goes to the real-time apply with the MRP or the LSP on the standby database. So this is a complete architecture of the Oracle Data Guard, which we have discussed in the last seminar. Today's session, we will talk about the protection modes. So the first protection mode is the maximum availability. And in this protection mode, we can get the highest level of data protection without compromising the availability of the primary database. And how it works, we will discuss about that. In this, there is transportation of the redos. We will see how those redos are being transported, what kind of redos and what kind of things we are using in this. And what happens in the maximum availability is that when there is any transaction which is being written down on the primary, those things are written to the standby redo log files for the syncing part, for the consistent copy of that part. And once that data is being written to the standby redo log files, the standby will send an acknowledgement to the primary, and once the primary will get the acknowledgement, it will proceed with the next transaction. So that's what about this maximum availability. So let me show you, and by this pictorial diagram, how it works. So as you can see that on the primary side there are some queries, or there are some updates, there are some DDLs which are being run, and the user commits. So what happens? Data will go to the online files, and the data will be written up there. This is the step that is I have marked as point number 1. Then point number 2 will be the data will be copied to the standby redo logs on the standby side to have a consistent copy of the primary. Once the data is being written on the standby redo log files, we will get the acknowledgement back and will go to the primary database, and so that the next transaction can be continued. So this way it works until unless you don't get the, so it has this acknowledgement thing which is there in the maximum availability. So data is being written into the standby redo log files here, and it's being acknowledged. So we are on a safer side, and we have this maximum availability. In the maximum availability, we can have two things. The one is the that you can use the performance, or you can use the protection. It's up to you which thing you want to use, whether you want to go with the performance or whether you want to go with the protection mode. And for this, we have to set the transportation things, which we can be sync and affirm, or it can be sync and no affirm. So there's a log archive destination parameter which is being set here. Okay, so you can see here there's a log archive des parameters which is being set, and you can see the async is there, or there is a sync is there, affirm is there. These things need to be set. So we are talking about these things right now. So you need to set these things. So these can be set as sync, affirm, or it can be set as sync, no affirm. And we are talking about the maximum availability. So what is actually sync, affirm? In sync, affirm, the primary performs the write operations and wait for the acknowledgement that the redo has been transmitted on the standby side and it has been written to the disk. While in the case of the sync, no affirm, there's the only difference is that the data will be shipped to the standby data on the standby side, and it just being received on the standby side, and the acknowledgement will be sent. It does not wait for the data to be written on the standby redo log files. So that's why you have a benefit of you're just saving some time, so that you're just giving a performance benefit. While in the sync affirm, there is a protection benefit. Let's understand these things using the pictorial diagram here. So as you know, there's the same technique here. I'm trying to show that the queries are being updated or written, the DDLs are being executed. So that's point number 1. So it will go to the online redo log files. Then the same thing, the same data will be written back to the standby redo log files. And right now we are talking about the sync affirm, right? So in this case, the data will be written down to the standby redo logs. So it's being written down to the standby redo logs. And once it is being written to the standby redo logs, then you will get the acknowledgement back. So this is a story about the sync affirm. When we talk about the sync no affirm, in this scenario, the same thing, the queries and updates are being done, and then it is being going down to the online redo log file. Simultaneously, you can see them, they're going on the standby side to the standby redo logs, and as soon they are received on the standby redo log files, the acknowledgement will be sent back to the primary. So here we are not waiting them to write on the standby redo logs. So you are just saving some time, and so it's a little bit performance benefit is here. So that's about the sync no affirm. Then we have a maximum performance protection mode. This is a default mode. When you create the standby, you will get this as a default mode. So in this, the redo is written to the standby data base size, but they are asynchronous. It means that the primary does not wait for the acknowledgement. So let's understand it more by the pictorial diagram here. So what happens is when the queries are updated on the primary side and they are being written down to the online redo log files, once they are being written down to the online redo log files, the acknowledgement is sent back and the next transactions are being performed. And the second thing, the simultaneously, asynchronously, the data will be shipped to the standby read log files on the standby side, and then a sync of that, a consistent copy can continue on that part. So that's a difference here. So you are not waiting for any of the that the data need to be written on the standby read log files. It takes some time from data to traverse from primary to the standby. It takes some time, so the time is saved, and you're not waiting for that acknowledgement. So in this way, we are getting the maximum performance from the data guard. And this one is the default one. You have the maximum protection. Okay, this is similar to the availability, but the only difference is that if there will be no acknowledgement received from the standby side, we have a primary outage, and that's why Oracle recommends to have more than 2 standbys if you want to configure this maximum protection in your environment. So how does it work? That on the primary, the data will be written on the standby read log file. Similarly, it will go to the standby read logs, and from here the acknowledgement is coming. And if that acknowledgement is not coming back to the primary database, so the maximum protection mode, what will we do? It will shut down the primary database. That's what is stand for, maximum protection of the data. That's why it's recommended to have more than 1 standby if you want to use this mode. Okay, so let's see if you want to change the modes from the maximum performance to the maximum availability. So what steps need to be done, or how we can do that. Let's go through those steps one by one. You know that for the maximum availability, the redo transport attribute should be set to as affirm and sync. For the maximum performance, it should be set to as no affirm, as sync, and for protection, it should be affirm, sync. So if you should just focus on these attributes and need to set the correct attributes in order to set to the correct protection mode. So if you want to perform the change mode from maximum performance to availability or protection, there are some requirements for that, and the requirement is that the standby database must have standby redo logs configured. Okay, that is the first thing. Then the log archive destination should be configured the way I have shown in the last diagram also, and it should show whether it is async or sync to the correct transportation mode. It should be set. The DB unique name should be set. The log archive config should be set. Then you can change the protection mode with a simple command like alter database, set standby database to maximize availability or maximize performance or protection. And we can see those protection modes from the $$ database view. So I've just shown some screenshots here, and then we will do the practical sessions a little bit fast on that part. So right now we can see that the primary database as well as the standby database have the protection mode set to maximum performance. So, and as you know, the second requirement is that you should have the standby redo logs configured on the primary as well as on the standby side. So you can create the standby redo log files using the alter database, add standby log file group size, and you can add that standby logs. This is for the standby redo logs. On the standby side, you can see that the DB role is at the physical standby. We have the maximum protection right now. We have the online redo log files. We have the standby redo log files here with us. And so, yeah, before performing this protection mode, we should also check that both the database, the primary and the standby, are in sync. Okay, you will set the correct log archive desk transition mode, whether if you want to use the change it to any of the availability or the protection, you have to use the sync here. So we should have the correct parameters set up here with this. And then we will change the mode to the maximum availability or anything, and then you can check it using the $$ database views of the instance that whether you have the maximum availability protection mode with you or not. So let's do a practical session of this and try to understand a more better way. Okay, so right now I have this primary database with me. Okay, and I also have a standby database with me. So this is my standby database, and here you have the primary database. Right now, the protection mode which is being set is the maximum performance, and if you want to change the protection mode to maximum availability, we will see that. Okay, so as a request to increase the font size. I hope this is good now. Okay. Okay. So coming back to this on the primary side. So we have checked that we are on the maximum performance mode. And to check the log files, we have a view $log. We can use that query in order to check how many groups we have. If you want to check how many standby redo logs you have a query from $standby log. We can query that. And I told you, if you want to add more standby, or if you don't have any standby, what you can do is you can add a standby log file using a command, alter database, add standby log file group name and size of that. So we have one more standby log in this. In this way, you can create one more standby logs if you want, or you can create if you don't have any. Let me drop this log file. So drop this standby log file is the command alter database, drop standby log file group name. Okay. So we are going to check the same thing on the standby side. Okay. So how many logs here? Let's check out quick using the $log query. So we have 3 logs with us. How many standby log files are there with us? We have a $standby log. We can use this, and we can similarly also add standby. We should also add standby logs if there is no standby on this standby side. But there is a change if you want to add any standby logs on the standby side. Let me show you this thing. Suppose, for example, if I want to add the same log file group here, you will see a problem here. Okay, so I think my MRP is not running. That's the thing. Yeah, my MRP was not running. That was the thing. Let me show you what happens here. So just let me quickly drop this standby here, and let me start. So if on the standby side, you have the MRP running, and if you try to add the log file, it will give you an error. It will say recovery of the flashback in progress, or may need to access the file. So whenever you want to add a log file on the standby side, you have to stop the MRP, then add the standby log file, and then you can again start the MRP. So that's the process of adding the standby logs on the standby side. Okay, now let's check whether the standby as well as the primary are in sync or not. So let me check what is my maximum. So on the archive log, we have the maximum sequence reached to 710. On the standby, let's check the same query. Okay, so right now we are in sync. Okay, let it show no problem with this. Gaps here. Activate MRP. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me switch some more. So I would be confirmed that the archives from the primary side are going to the standby side. Okay. Okay, so it's applying the last 7:15. So we can say that we are in sync right now. So my primary and my standby are in sync. Okay, so now let's check what's the parameter for the log archive dest set. So on the primary side, let's see what's the value for that. Okay, it says we are in the asynchronous mode, and as you know, why we are in the asynchronous mode, because the protection mode is set to maximum performance, and you know that in maximum performance it's always in a sync. So we have to change this, and you will use the command alter system set archive log dest, and you will use this command. You will say alter system set log archive dest. You will the dest pointing to the standby side, and you will say service, the service name, and you will use the whichever transportation things you want to use, that is the sync affirm or sync no affirm, and we will set that. Okay, and now what you will do is you will shut immediate and we will start up the database in mount mode to change it to maximum availability mode. Okay, so it's shut down right now. Let me start up mount. Okay, so now we will change the protection mode using the command alter database set standby database to maximum availability. Database is altered. Let's open this database. And let's check what is the protection mode. So now the protection mode is maximum availability. So as you can see that we have changed the protection mode from the maximum performance to the maximum availability. So these are the simplest steps that you need to follow. What you need to focus that you should have the correct log archive dest set parameters here, that it should be set to affirm sync for the maximum availability. So we have learned and seen how to change the protection mode. Let me quickly revert back it to maximum performance mode. So what you're going to do is we will set back the log. Okay. I think I didn't change on the standby side. Yeah, Ganesh, I'm just trying to resolve this error right now. So I'm sorry, that's why I was just quiet and talking to myself in the mute. So let me. So it is on the async part right now. On the async here. You guys give me 2 more minutes. Let me go through this. Okay, so it was actually the database need to be the specified here. That was the problem here. So now it's here. I have changed the back my log archive -2 to async. Then checked to parameter log underscore archive underscore test2. This set to sync here. Sorry, it will check effect after the startup. Okay, so what I have to do is shut immediate. Once it is shut down, I have to start up with the startup mount. Then I have to say startup mount. Okay, then we have the commands to change it back to the performance mode. That's alter database, set standby database to maximize performance. And we will alter database open. Okay, we can check using my saved SQL that right now we are back to the maximum performance. Let me check on the standby side. What's the thing here? Activate DB info. Okay, we are on the maximum performance here. And let me check what is it in a single state or not. So activate maximize with the 717 on the standby side. 717 here. Okay, let me switch some more. Switch log file. Alter system switch log file. on 721 right now. Let's see what the status on this. So my standby is running. So it's maximum performance here, and on the primary side, we are also on the maximum performance. So we have seen how to change the protection mode from the maximum performance to the availability and back to the maximum performance. Okay, so now we will see what is DataGuard Broker. So DataGuard Broker is something that logically binds the primary database and the standby database using the broker configuration, and it will manage and monitor both the units and the primary as well as the standby together. We can use the OEM Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control, or you can use the command line interface, that is the DGMGRL, in order to manage it. The DataGuard Broker can perform the following activities that you have to create. You can create a DataGuard configuration, which will include the configuration for the primary database. You can add one or more standby database. You can check the redo transport services. You can check the log apply services. You can change them. You can change the protection mode if you want, and you can use the switch over or the failover, and you can monitor the status, like how much archives are being applied, which archives is being shipped. So you can do all these kind of monitorings using the DataGuard Broker. And if you have more than one standby database, it's very difficult to manage it. So it's recommended from the Oracle to use the DGBroker, and it's very easy to change things in the DGBroker. And I will try to show you the same things of changing the protection mode with the help of DGBroker, and we will see it's very simple. We can see here, this is the architecture diagram that I'm trying to show how this DGBroker works. So you have a primary database on the left side and the standby database on the right side. And you should have the standby redo logs configured, even though if they are not being used, it would be used only during the time of the switchover. So, but you need to configure them beforehand. And the DataGuard monitor will have a background process called daemon, which comes into picture, and it will perform all this monitoring stuff, and all the shipping and the transportation part, it will be taken care by this background monitor. So this is the architecture of the DGBroker. So let's see how to perform the configuration. So the environment, as you know, that I have an environment which is running on the primary server, and I have a standby servers here running, which is running on the 12.2.01 version, and we have a database name with the ORCL, and the ORCL DR is a unique name on the standby side. We have listeners running on the primary as a listener underscore primary, as well as on the standby side. We have these things. You can see them quickly. Let's see here. So LSNRCL status LISTEN 5. So you have this listener here with us. Okay. So in order to use this broker, you have to invoke the utility. As I told you, there is a command line utility called the DGMGRL. You have to invoke this utility to work on this. So let me show you how to invoke that utility. So for example, on the primary side, so what you need to do is DGMGRL /as sysdba, okay, and we can say show configuration. Okay, so it says the Oracle DataGuard Broker is not yet available. So it's not available. It's not being configured right now. So in this next sessions, we are gonna see how to configure those things, right? For this DGBroker, you have this parameter called DG_broker_start. You need to set it to true in order to enable it. Right now, it should be set to false. You can check it real quick on the SQL side. Show parameter DG_broker_start. So you can see right now it is being set to false. So in order to activate the DGBroker, we have to set this parameter to true. Okay. And the primary side and the standby side should be in sync for the configuration of this. And the listener in the listener.ora file for the primary as well as the standby side, you need to make some adding more entries into it. So this is the normal listener file that you can see, which has a global database name and the for the DR also. So what you have to do is you have to add these entries, as you can see here in the screen. You have to add ORCL_DG MGRL. These services need to be added for the primary and for the standby side. So you need to add these services. So you can see that I have already added these services. I'm talking about these two services, that they should be added on the listener. And once you add them, just reload the listener so that they should be visible when you say status ISTN. So fine, read. So you should see them as the running services here. Okay, so you need to set these two. You need to edit your listener.ora so that you can add these two services there. Okay. The same thing you need to do on the standby side. So let's check real quick what's on the standby side with us. So on the standby side, cd oracle_home/network/admin, where I can see my, I'm sorry, that's a spelling mistake here. So here I have my listener.ora. So I already have added these two parameters here for my listener_standby, which is running on my standby side. Okay, you can say lsnrctl status for my listener, for my standby. So these services are also visible on this standby. So these are the prerequisites that need to be done. Okay, as I told you that this DGBroker need to be set to true. Okay, so let's do one thing. And with this, I just want to show you something also. That, for example, on the SQL side, show so right now the DGBroker is actually set to false. And these are the DGBroker config files, which will store all the information about the sync and all those things. So right now, if you will check that these files are accessible or not, so we can see that these files are not accessible as of now because the DGBroker is not running around. Okay, so let me start. I will just start these things DGBroker. You know the command for that is alter system set DGBroker_start equal to true. Alter system set you can use the parameter show parameters command to see the parameter for that. Now it's being set to true. And now if you will try to see whether this file is there or not, you will be able to see this file now. Once, because DGBroker configuration has been set to true, you will be able to see these configuration files here. The same thing need to be done on the standby. So show parameter. So right now it is false. So let me set it to true. Okay. And now if you will try to see these configuration files here also for the DR, they are also visible now. So we have set the DGBroker value to true. Yes. This should be in sync. Yeah, definitely. I told you that also in the previous section that they should be in sync. Okay. So here, now I will just use the same command here. Coming to the DGMURL, I say show configuration. So now you see there is a difference. The very first time I say show configuration, it says the DGBroker is not yet available because at that time we have not started the parameters there. Now you can see the change that it says does not exist. Okay. So now we have done those configuration required for the DGBroker. Now we will add the primary database to my configuration of my DGBroker, and there's a command for that. That is create configuration, and that's the name that you can give to the configuration. And as primary database is the database name of the primary, connect as using the identifier. So we will set this command. Let me run this command for you. Okay, so let us come to the here. Show configuration. It's not set. Okay. So there is a command create configuration and the configuration name, and as primary is this ORCL is my primary, and connect identifier is the from the DNS names. So now if I say show show configuration, so you can see that ORCL as a primary is being added to your.
Hi, Shab. Sorry for interrupting you. Here you mentioned create configuration Oracle_DG. So is it service name or something different?
I'm sorry. Can you please pardon? Yeah, please once again.
You here mentioned create configuration ORCL_DG as primary database is ORCL. So is it service name or just you have mentioned any alias?
This is any name. This is ORCL DG is any name. This is the alias ORCL.
Okay. And then database is ORCL. It's a primary database name, right?
Yeah. Yes. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
So now we have added the primary database. Now we will add the standby database. So for standby database, you have to say add database the ORCL DR as connect identifier is ORCL DR. Okay. So let me go back to this place and add the okay. So it says there is a problem with the log archive desk parameter, and you get an error 16698. So if you are getting this error, what you need to do is you need to remove the parameters here and show you. Show parameter log underscore archive underscore desk underscore true. So you need to set this parameter to null. Alter system set log archive desk 2 is equal to null. So similarly, you have to do the same thing on the standby side. Show parameter log underscore archive underscore desk underscore 2. So alter system set okay. Once we have set this to null, and if we will again add the so now it's added, and if I say show configuration It says here, you can see that we have the ORCL as the primary database and we have the ORCL DR as a physical standby database. So these two are the commands that you will use to add the primary and the standby configuration to your DG brokers. Okay, this was the same error that just came up, so I've just shown you how to resolve those things. Okay, so now let's look into some other commands that we can run, or we should focus on these things. So let me show you these. Okay, Narendra asked me to show the parameter test2 again. Okay, so now what you have to do is, okay, let me show you this command. I'm sorry, it was the show database ORCL. You can use this command in order to see the information about that. And you can see that it shows the intended state is actually offline right now because the configuration status is disabled right now. You can say show database verbose for more detailed information. So you can see here a more detailed information about that, all those parameters which are being set here. And you can see the database status is disabled right now. Okay, the same thing for the show database ORCL DR. So you can see the intended state is offline right now. You can say show database verbose ORCL DR for the detailed information for the physical standby parameters. So these are the two commands which you can use to find the values which are being set for the parameters. Okay, and then what you have to do, you have to enable the configuration in order to start this. As you can see, the database with the configuration status was set to disabled, so you have to enable the configuration in order to start everything. So what you have to do is enable, let me show this, show configuration, enable configuration,
sorry for interrupting you again.
yeah.
Yeah, here no, in without DataGuard broker we have like destination second also. So here we have did null, but normally second should be some value should be there, no? Because archive is going from primary to DR.
Yes, we will set that. We will set that.
Okay. Then okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so right now you can see that the configuration status was disabled, so you have to enable the configuration in order to make the configuration status success, right? So now we have this here. So you can say show database ORCL. So it says now the transportation is on. The archives are being shipped to the standby side. You can say show database ORCL DR. So you can say that on the physical standby, the intended state is apply on. So now the configuration is being enabled. So now the primary and the standby are being managed by the standby, this DG broker. Okay. Let's go through some more commands into this. Okay, let me show you these commands here.
So what you did here for? So I missed this. Can you please repeat again?
See here, what we did is that right now you can see here when we have to configure the DG broker, you have to add the ORCL first. We added the ORCL, then we have to add the standby side information. We added that, and then you just see that right now the configuration is set to disable. So after adding the primary, after adding the standby, what you have to do is you have to enable the configuration in order to start the shipping of the archives from the primary to the standby, And in order to enable the broker, now once you say enable configuration, the DGBroker starts, right? Till the time you don't say enable configuration, the status was disabled. Once you say enable configuration, the configuration status is success. That is start. The DGBroker starts and it will start shipping the transportation of the archive logs and apply of the archive logs on the standby side. So that will be started.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So let's see some more commands here. That we have a show database ORCL status report. We can use this status report here, or you can have, if you want to see some like, let me show you something. Let me just take an example so that you can understand something. Okay, let me just do one thing. Let's take this example. So right now, you can see that the intended state is that there is a transportation is on, okay? And let me say there is a command, show database name, send entries, send queue entries, okay? So you can see that there is a, right now the log is 723. You can see here on the primary side what is the maximum log we have. So maximum log is 722. On the DGMRL, we can see that this is the log to be sent right now. Okay, that is, we can confirm here. We have seen that the transportation is on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disable this transportation. Okay. So in order to change these parameters, what you can do is you have to do the edit. You have to say edit database, which database, and set state is equal to transportation off. Okay, so when you say this and you just say show database back here, you will see that the transportation is off. Okay, so now what we can do is we will make some switches here. So we can run the same commands, alter system switch log file from this also. I'm going to show you how we can do that here. Alter system switch log file, and you can use the backslash to run the previous command. So we have made a multiple switches here for the log switch. Let's see what is the send entries here. So you can see that these many entries need to be sent here. That is 724, 725, 726, because the transportation has been off. So now the archives are not being shipped to the standby site. That's why they are being in the queue section. So once, as soon as I will just say the transportation on, you will see that all archives will be shipped to the standby. So let's put it back to on. And if I just say now here, you won't see any. You will just see the last one, the latest one. Okay. So in this way, we can change the parameters. So let me try to change the other parameters also. So we have a parameter for the show database ORCL DR. Here you can see that the parameters, the intended state is apply on. You can, if you want, you can change this. Let me show you how you will change that. You have to say edit database ORCL DR, set state is equal to apply off. Okay, show database ORCL DR. So now you can see the applies off. It will not be applied. Okay, and let me make some more switches here. So you have the command here. Let me make some more switches. on the primary. So we have a command, show database name, that is the DR, and receive entry. So you can see that these entries have come to they have been transported to the standby side, but they are not applied yet because the apply is off. So you need to change this to on in order to apply these archives on the standby side. So you can have to say edit database, the standby database name, set state, apply is equal to on. Okay, now you will say show database ORCL DR, the apply is on, and if you will say show database receive 2 entries, you don't see any because they have all been applied here. So you can change in this way you can add these parameters on the DGMGRL utility. We have other commands also. If you want, you can change them. If you want to disable the DR configuration, you can do that. Let me show you that. Show configuration. Show configuration here. Okay, so it's just a warning. It will just go off, and let me see whether it's being applied or not. So configuration. Okay, yeah. So it's success now. These errors, these warnings can come. So you need to wait for just like 2 or 3 minutes, but because it takes some time for the configuration to update its files. So you need to wait. Okay, so for example, if I want to disable this DR, so what I can do is we can say disable database ORCL DR. So you can say that you can see that this database is disabled now. So these are the way you can change the parameters. You can change the states in order to use in like whatever the requirements, whatever the outage is, you can set that and you can change it in order to enable it. What is the command for that? Simple command, enable database ORCL DR. So we will see now it's again enabled. Okay, so this way we have seen how to configure the DGBroker, how to set the parameters, how to change the parameters. Now what I'm going to show you is how to change the protection mode. The thing that we have seen just a few minutes ago about the changing of the protection mode. Now if you want to change the protection mode from the DGBroker, what are the steps for that? Let's check out that. So show configuration. Right now you can see the database protection mode is being set to maximum performance. And I need to change it. So what I can do is we have a command, edit configuration, set protection mode as maximum protection. Oh, it says upgrade to maximum protection mode not possible. Okay. And the reason is that in DGBroker you cannot change the protection mode directly to maximum protection. Okay, first you need to set it to maximum availability. So when we check for the edit configuration, set protection mode set to maximum availability, it failed because it says that it does not support the protection mode. And as you know, the maximum availability, what should be the protection mode? Let's see what is the protection mode right now. Show parameter verbose ORCL. Show parameter, I'm sorry, show database verbose ORCL. So right now what you can see is that right now the log transport mode is set to async, and in order to set it to maximum availability, it should be sync. So that is a problem. That's why it's not allowing us to change it to maximum availability. So what you need to do is you need to set this parameter to the correct transportation mode, and that is sync. So how you will change that that mode? This command is added database, the name of the database, set property, and okay, let me, there's some problem with this thing. Okay, so now it says added database ORCL set property log transaction mode to sync. So right now it was async. We will check again whether it has been changed or not. Okay, so now the mode has been changed to sync. Similarly, we need to do it for the DR. So show database verbose ORCL DR. It's set to async. Need to use the same command. What changes will be that the database name need to be different. Added database ORCL DR, that is the database name, and then set property to sync. Okay, so these things have been changed. Like you can see them using the command show database verbose. In this also you can see those commands, show database verbose ORCL DR. This will also show you that they have been changed. In order to see the exact only the parameter which is being required, what you can do is you can say show database ORCL and which parameter you want. I want this parameter to be shown. Okay, show database ORCL DR, which parameter? I want to see the value for this parameter. Okay, so right now the correct parameters have been set. It should be set to sync. Now we will try to run that command again. Okay, so now show configuration. We can see that it's been changed to maximum availability. Then added configuration set protection mode as maximum protection. Show configuration. Okay, so this way we have changed the modes here. Okay, so let's quickly revert back to my own original protection mode. So what was the thing was the maximum performance, and as you know, for the maximum performance, the log transaction mode should be async. So let me edit those parameters for us. So what I want that my it should be set to async. Similarly, the thing should be set for my DR. Okay. So database verbose ORCL async. So database verbose ORCL DR sync here. United database was well set property lock is set to async. Verbose was LER set to sync. Okay, so let's just give me 2 more minutes to look into this error. Show database. He said something. Database Verbose was L. I think there is some problem while setting this lock property. Okay, so see the set of the log XPT mode as a SY and sync and edit database ORCL DR set property log X mode is equal to a sync. Show with is Verbose ORCLTR -100F. Okay, guys, I don't think I should give more time on this because I need to check and we'll come back on that. No problem. I will see and let you know in my seminars, other seminars, what is happening, what was the issue this. So let's not get more time in this. I think there is some problem with the characters, that the junk character that went into it, that's creating a problem. Otherwise, we need to just set it to the async mode and we can change the maximum performance. I will just research back and let you know, guys, on the next sessions. So let me end this session with just one last thing that I wanted to add in this session. That was about the how to remove the broker configuration. And in order to remove the broker configuration, you just need to say remove configuration. So it will remove the configuration. And then you remember that we have set this parameter DGBroker start equal to true. So you need to set this parameter to as false, and then these are the two things that you need to do in order to remove or just deconfigure the data guard broker. So you will remove the configuration and you will disable that. You will just false the DGBroker start, and if you want, you can optionally remove these parameters, that there's these config files that are being there. If you want, you can remove them. There's no harm in that. So this way we come to an end to this DGBroker. So guys, you can let me know your queries, your doubts, and I will try to. You can go to the YouTube channel KT Expert. There, the videos will be uploaded, and you can comment and you can raise your questions, you raise your doubts, and you can use that. Yes, I will just send the PDFs and all those things there. You can download them so that you can use it for your own references and for your own testing environments. You can do that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, sir, can we recover some archives gap using the DGBroker?
Your voice is a little bit low, just breaking.
Yeah, can we recover archives gap using the DGBroker?
Yes, you can do that. Definitely, we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because as you told that whenever the sync is there, then only the DGBroker will work.
No, that's not true. But yeah, we can recover that, because as you you see, I just try to show that diagram here. This log transport service will help to recover that. It's not that only the sync will work. Yeah, you can recover if there is a gap, because if you add a new standby, which is, and if there is a gap, definitely it's being recovered. And even I tried to show in the today's diagram, I just stop the apply, I just stop the transport, and then when I just apply back, it just transported the archives and applied them also, so that we can recover that the gaps also.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you so much for everyone joining this session.
Sure. What will
See
be
you
the next
soon.
session?
Okay, okay. You can make the suggestions in the videos, comments, and all those things, which session you want. And definitely, I will try to bring the latest sessions. And I've been making some sessions here, so I'll try to bring them. If you have any specific requests, I will work on that.
Okay. Can we have an interview purpose session, data broker, and some other topics?
Okay. Yeah, we can have. I will work on that, and I will let you know the sessions.
Okay, sure.
We can have those interview sessions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.